As in this video, we'll focus on rotations and interchanges to free a player, particularly in the game Inter Milan against Napoli. And the board, Inter Milan will be the blue and Napoli will be the red. It was an interesting one. I believe Inter Milan had over 60% of possession, and unfortunate not to win the game. We'll focus on certain actions that allow Inter to receive the ball or to free up a player. Um, it is important to note that in terms of offense or positional play, you will have teams that play in more fixed positions, and a certain pass to a certain player in a certain area will trigger a movement. Um, that's one way of doing it. There's another way where you're able to dictate what movements you want to happen and what cooperations you want to take place in order to break a line of pressure in a certain area of the field. So we'll watch the footage really quick, and then we'll analyze the movement on the board. So you can see the ball's played from left to right. The right center back goes to the width, and the wide player goes inside. So that's what we're looking at. So as the ball travels from the middle of the field to the channel here, two things happen. There's a first interchange in this area of the field. So we'll play the ball back. Okay. This player, Borella, the central midfielder, triggers a movement by communicating with him go. So he takes this space. By then, this player is already high and wide, somewhere in this area. You can't fully see it on the screen. But what this action does is it pins this player back and towards the wide channel. And that opens up space in this channel here, where it's just what you want. You want a central midfielder that is very creative, under comfort in the ball. And the ball's played here. As this central midfielder moves, he pulls a defender out of the middle with him. At that point, it looks like 3 defenders against 2 forwards, because by then he also jumped a little bit, tried to put a little bit more pressure. So you're looking at the 3 versus 2. Now the next thing that happens is there's a space that opens up here. And there are 2 parts of this space that you want to take advantage of. And the first one will be the one right behind them. Okay? And you want to be able to make these 2 players, the 9 and the winger, you want them to make a decision of what space to close first. But the way the play happened, it kind of puts them in a position where they're stuck in between. So one space is here, and then the other space will be here. What space would which player occupy? It will depend on their decisions. But they understand these references are created based on the movements of these 2 players. So the wide player moves inside somewhere here. Now this is an interesting one because by then this player kind of closes them a little bit more, but then he reads the player on the ball making a decision. Maybe he's going to play wide instead. So he kind of hesitates. This hesitation also creates a problem for the ball carrier. Okay, I'm going to move this piece out, because the first time he takes a first touch, if you watch closely, he takes a step, touch, and then 6 more steps before he plays the ball. And that is a very poor technique because it allows time and space for the player close to him to put pressure on the ball, as well as the wide player reading what he's going to do. Okay, and when he passes the ball, he's in a very limited position with not enough balance to pass the ball, which the ball goes through, the 10 comes with a man on, and then there's like a little flick that goes on here. But the concept is pull a player out wide, bring a player in to be able to free one player and be able to get you out of pressure. We'll watch the clip again. The red circle around the ball represents comfort on the ball. So the bigger it is, the more comfort there is, the more time and space there is. So as you can see, this triggers a movement. And watch closely how many steps he takes. Touch, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then the pass. And by then, this player was able to read that the ball is going to go to the inside and not to the outside. So that is it, guys. This is a rotation and interchange with some technical aspects. That one part requires a lot of precision, a lot of training. It's not very difficult to execute. One thing that I want to share is comfort or stress around the ball. It's been called different things, but every player has a different level of comfort, how much control they have. Some players can operate in very little space around the ball, no problem. You know, you have your Messi, you have your Toni Kroos. These players have a big level of comfort. If it's me, it's very little, obviously, and obviously depends on player to player. So sometimes everyone will have a big level of comfort because of the space around them. So you look at where the defenders are, you will look at how much space around the ball there is. The comfort can get bigger, and this is a reference to make decisions off the ball. One of them is movement to get high, movement to enter a space, okay, or then after that maybe movement to interchange again, where he pulls, maybe he's marked by the left back, okay, and maybe he pulls him out a little bit more of the space, and then the 9 enters the space, and then the ball's played there. But a lot of it is dictated by this radius. The bigger the radius, the better. Some players have a bigger radius than others. It changes based on who they are and their qualities, but that's more or less the idea of teaching players comfort on the ball. Thanks, guys.